Now, BBC Three is currently running a series of programmes called Body Beautiful at the moment. In them, they explore the insecurities and confidence crushes of Britain's young people. The insecurities range from facial features, extensive scarring from accidents, body shape, weight gain, and skin problems as well. One of the series, which was on last week and I watched it, followed 4 men. 2 who were obsessed with the size of their muscles and they wanted to trim down, get a bit more ripped and fix their unhealthy relationship with the gym. And the other 2 men were quite skinny and they wanted to put on muscle. And body insecurities are something that Jon Le Tocq knows all about as head coach and owner of Storm Force Fitness. And he is running a training camp for those aged 12 to 18. He joins me in the studio now. So can you tell us about the superhero training camp, first of all?
Yeah, basically it runs on a Tuesday and Thursday afternoon after school. Originally it was going to be for guys between 14 and 18. And then we discovered that actually some of the younger guys, we were getting parents saying, could my 12-year-old come along because he's getting bullied at school or he hasn't got much confidence. And so we expanded it to 12 to 18-year-olds. It runs for an hour, and we've been combining weight training with kickboxing as well. But a lot of the lads are saying they'd rather do more of the kickboxing stuff, so we're going to be going down that route a bit more.
Why did you decide to originally start this up?
It was twofold, really. First of all, we were just getting loads of the adults who do our main camp saying, when are you going to do stuff for kids? Because I'm worried about my kids are not eating properly, spending too much time on iPads and computers and everything else. So that was one side of it. But then the other side was just from a personal perspective. It was something I struggled with when I was younger. I was like the skinny guy, bullied at school. Not as much as some people were, but I had a lot of days where you feel insecure. I got jokes about big ears, skinny guy, all that kind of stuff. I'm fine with it now, it doesn't bother me, but I know what it feels like, when you're sat at home, you're waiting for the phone to ring, everyone else is out at parties and doing stuff, and I wanted to build, not a system as such, but build these sessions for the kids, but also give them a bit of background info as well. So we're going to start giving them sort of printouts and handouts about, if this is happening to you, here's some of the stuff you can do, because especially guys, they won't want to talk about it, they're not going to go and tell their mum, they're not going to tell their dad. Sometimes parents pick up on this stuff, through teachers and just what they're observing, but a lot of the time they don't see what's really going on. So that's kind of the idea behind it.
And what do the guys say when they first come to you and they first start this training camp? What do they say about their bodies and about their confidence levels?
To be honest, it's not something they talk about with us, and that's kind of the key, and this is the thing we're trying to sort of manage and work with, because the kids are being put on it at first because their parents know they need to be on it. I think this is one of the problems is the kids don't understand what they can do about it. They don't really understand why, if they get a little bit stronger, they'll put a bit of muscle on, they'll be more confident. And it's certainly not about just change your body and everything's okay. But it's a proven fact in adults as well. When they start doing kickboxing, they start exercising, self-esteem goes up, confidence goes up. So to answer your question, they're not really saying anything to us, but it's something I'm trying to sort of pick up on. And the difficulty is trying to have conversations with them when the other guys are around, because obviously nobody wants to say anything. So this is something we're trying to work with as time goes on.
So what type of things do the boys do in these training camps?
The last camp we've done, we were splitting it. Half the session was, I shouldn't say weight training, resistance training, sort of learning to use body weight, do push-ups properly. But when we have got them doing weight training, it's something that some people say, kids shouldn't be lifting weights and kids shouldn't be, holding weights when they're squatting and things like that. But these kids are going out, they're jumping on walls, they're playing sport. If you just look at running, you got 6 to 8 times their body weight going through their knees just by running, and yet someone tells you they shouldn't be holding a 5-kilo dumbbell to do weight training. It doesn't make any sense. So we're doing half weight training and half sort of teaching them kickboxing as well.
And how do you make sure that you do strike that balance? Because research has been done saying that it's unhealthy at a young age to be really lifting heavy weights and to be bulking up.
Yeah.
How do you make sure you kind of strike the balance so that the boys are building their confidence and maybe improving their body, but also so it's not dangerous?
I think the problem is that, like, not just in kids, with adults as well, there's this thing of, weight training's bad for you, it's dangerous. If you've got a bit of a knee injury, for instance, a lot of physios will say, don't do any weight training, just stop everything for 8 weeks. And the key is managing yourself as an individual. And, we've got people coming with injuries and we'll work around it and make things purposefully safer for them, choosing certain exercises. But also it's the way you perform the exercises. I totally agree. If someone's just going to go in the gym on their own with an injury and start lifting weights, chances are something's bad's going to happen. But we're teaching the kids to get perfect technique first. As soon as they start getting tired, that's when we stop them. It's all about educating the nervous system as well, performing the exercise with perfect technique. And if we do this now, you're going to see the benefits when they start hitting 18, 20s, 30s. If we can keep that process going over their lifetime, they're going to be in a much better position than these people who try and get into the gym when they're 40 or 50 and go and hurt themselves because they have no nervous system control or anything like that. So it's all about safety, really.
And what do they say after they've finished the training camp? And can you see that difference in them throughout the kind of weeks?
Yeah, definitely. I think the first couple of sessions, you could see they were, because we operate down at the indoor cricket centre, and often there's other stuff going on, and you can see the concentration's not there. It was normally about the minute 40. They start watching what other people are doing, but now we've kind of got them a lot more focused. They're really concentrating on what they're doing because they want to get better at it now, and they know they need to concentrate. And they're actually getting into the kickboxing, so they're sort of totally focused on what they're doing. And this is why we get them working in pairs when they're doing the kickboxing. One person's got pads on, one's got gloves, so they have to concentrate as much for the other person. I think sometimes this is the problem at school, is very much focusing on, right, here's what everybody's doing as an individual, and their mind will drift. And that, that's what we're trying to build as well, is this team ethic, and that there's other guys you're working with. You're not on your own in life. Find people who have the same interests as you, and it's a lot more fun as well.
And do the parents, you mentioned that they kind of come to you beforehand saying that, I know, little Billy is not very confident, but after the training camp, do they say he's completely transformed or he's really happy now, his energy levels are up? Because actually doing exercise, you wouldn't think because you're doing exercise that you'd be tired, but actually your energy levels are up and you're happier.
Well, funnily enough, I think it was about 2 or 3 days ago, one of the mums sent me a message on Facebook saying that it started off sort of thank you about 3 or 4 times, because her son does a lot of swimming as well. And there's a guy apparently who he always wants to beat. There's always this one guy, and he's never beaten him before, and he's only been doing the camps 4 weeks, and he actually beat the guy. I think he won, he got best performer at the swimming gala, beat the guy not just in one race, I think he beat him in 3 or 4 races. She said he's absolutely buzzing. And the other guys, they were annoyed at me because I told them we were having a week off. And they were like, we just want to carry on, we're in the routine now. And it's completely opposite to the adults who like, I'm here because I have to be. But yeah, they're just really enjoying it. So it's good to see the change as well, because that's exactly what we're aiming for. And that's just in 4 weeks. So you can imagine if we can keep them going for a few years, what effects it's going to have. Yeah.
And we were speaking earlier, and this is the superhero training camp. I mean, you do training camps for adults, but this particular one is just for boys, but you're going to be going for girls in the future.
It sounds a bit funny when you
say
that.
I know. Didn't really phrase that very well.
Yeah,
targeting. No, that's even worse.
But basically, like I said, we started the guys one mainly because parents were asking us. And one of the mums, I remember her saying to me, if girls aren't into sport at school, they can go and do ballet and do certain other activities. But for the guys, it's almost like if you're not into sport, what do we do apart from sitting on the computer? So that's why we started the guys one. But now we are getting more parents saying, oh, it's not fair, you're just doing it for the guys. There's, I think it's one of the dads on the triathlon camp we do. He said, oh, my daughter's actually really excited about doing this. Can you do one for girls? So one of the problems I had with that was just because as a guy, it's hard for me to relate to 14-year-old girls. It's just, I don't pretend to know. And obviously with eating issues and things like that, it's just a very touchy subject. But we've got Louise Dunn that works for us. She's probably going to take over that one. She can obviously relate to them a little bit better. And I think that's the key to these programs, is they need to see someone as a role model that they can actually aspire to. And obviously a 14-year-old girl's not going to want to be like me, hopefully.
Yeah,
she does. It's a bit weird.
No. But you also run these training camps for adults, and I must admit, seeing on social networking sites, they have become more and more popular. Why do you think it is popular, and why do you think that people are kind of more interested, I think now, in getting that little bit fitter?
I think there's definitely more awareness now, and I think the reason why ours works so well is that we've not only honed the training and nutrition systems that work hand in hand and deliver the results, but we're actually finding that's a smaller part of the story. A lot of it is having somewhere you can go where you're not going to be intimidated, you feel like you belong, you know that people are going to encourage you, the trainer's going to show you exactly what you need to do. We're not the kind of people who just kicking you and you're doing push-ups in the mud. It's not that kind of thing at all. We're looking at the individual as part of a group setting. And a lot of people you might have even seen it on Facebook, people always go on about the my Stormforce family. That's not something we created. It's not a slogan we came up with, but that's the feeling they get. We had a lady I think she's lost about 4 or 5 stone now. She put something on Facebook last night where, I miss boot camp. I don't like the nights when I don't go. And it's because she's got that feeling of belonging. Everybody's encouraging her. And we do a lot on the social side as well. Obviously not too much because it kind of defeats the object, but just getting people to realise that there are people out there who will encourage you to be a better person. And that's something a lot of people struggle, because when you're at work, everybody's trying to make you eat on the cake ground. It's negativity. Everybody hates their job. And normally you finish work just rock bottom. You just want to go home and watch TV. Whereas now they've got somewhere to come. And it's one of our things is this is going to be the best part of your day. Might not feel like it for 60 minutes, but afterwards you feel really good. So I think that's why they're becoming so popular.
What do you think it is about doing exercise that does make you feel good? I know clearly the results pay off, and when you look in the mirror, it's a good feeling to be able to think, I've really done this. But what do you think chemically happens within you after you've done a training camp or a training session for an hour? You're on a high, aren't you? Yeah,
I mean, we could be here all day talking about the science behind it, but it is essentially what they call endorphins, which get released when you're doing intense exercise. And I think, as you've probably seen, our camps are intense in that we'll sort of make you work to your limits. Obviously, your limit might be different to mine, different to a 16-stone lady. The point is we're making you work to your limits. And when you work to that intensity, that is when these endorphins get released. And I think that's where some people go wrong, is when they go into the gym and just working at their own pace, you'll always hold yourself back. It's a natural thing. Your body doesn't want you to work hard. It's kind of a safety mechanism, but that is what brings the results, and that's what makes you feel so good. And obviously we build in little tests into the camp. So you do a test on week 1, test on week 4. And that's the other side of it. When you retest yourself and you realise just how far you've come in 4 weeks, beyond just, I've lost 3 inches off my waist, I've done this, that makes you feel good as well. It's just that constant inspiration, which most people don't have in the gym. They're forcing themselves to go in the first week of January because they feel they have to. But that kind of motivation is only going to last maybe a week or 2. So that's something we really focus on.
And if anyone's listening at home and their son or their grandson, or maybe now their granddaughter or daughter, is struggling with their body confidence, and they like the sounds of this training camp, what can they do to get involved? How will they go about that?
Normally, for the adults, we normally say, go to this website, book on there. But I think for this, what we'd like them to do is actually give us a call or drop us an email and just tell us kind of what the issues are, because we'd like to sort of talk through that first so we understand, because we don't just want, some kid's coming in and he's really shy and doesn't like being around people. It's not going to be good for us to just be shouting at him, and it's going to need an individual approach. So best thing is they could email us. It's info@stormforcefitness.com, or they can call us on 210-205.
210-205.
Yeah, I'll quite happily talk, have a little chat first, because we want to make it it is a group activity, but we want to make it as personal as possible. And it, like I say, it helps us watch an individual and just see. It's like being a teacher. You can't just prescribe the same things over and over again. So that's probably the best thing to do. So have a little chat first.
Jon Le Tocq, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. So that's, you can, if you're interested, call 210-205, or you can email info@stormforcefitness.com.